Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brewster Tizzy here, and I'm back on the Pirates franchise for episode 2, and in this episode, we're going to be simming throughout April, and I'm probably just going to play one game. I don't know which game yet, but I guess we'll decide on that later on the video. So one thing really quickly, I don't think I mentioned in my last video, I sent Cole Tucker down to AAA. I don't think he's there yet. Hitting wise, he's not that great at all, with only like high 50s contact and really low power. Defensively, he's not that great either. He just has good speed, so hopefully he can develop down there. We also have Eric Gonzalez, and we also have Adam Frazier, Kevin Kramer, and Kevin Newman at second base. So our infield is kind of stacked at the moment, so there's no reason to have Cole Tucker up in the majors. So looking at stats really quickly before I start simming, and looking at batting average specifically, Jose Ozuna, John Ryan Murphy, I'm not going to count them as the team leaders since they've only had one at-bat on the season, but Colin Moran technically leads the team with batting average with a 3.33 average. We also have Brian Reynolds with a .316. Gregory Polanco is batting .286. Josh Bell's not having that great of a season so far, only batting .211. And looking at Adam Frazier, Stallings, Kevin Kramer, and Adam Jones, they're not doing good whatsoever, as they all have like sub .2 batting average. Looking at home runs, Brian Reynolds and Josh Bell are tied for the team lead at 2 right now, and Josh Bell is also leading the team with 4 RBIs. So looking at stats now for our pitching staff, Chris Archer has a 2.25 ERA, so it's technically the best out of our starters right now. Taillon has a 2.45, Musgrove has a 3.38 ERA, and Mitch Keller has a 4.5. Looking at Trevor Williams here, he has a 23.63 ERA. He only pitched 2.2 innings and has a whip of 3. But yeah, let's get into some simming. So to start off the video, I'm going to have Jameson Taillon facing off against Chicago and Kyle Hendricks, so we'll see how that goes. We win 13-2, wow. So after that surprisingly high run amount, we are facing off against the Reds now, Chris Archer versus Luis Castillo, and we also win that game 4-3. So we have a little win streak going right now. We're at 3-4 on the year now. To make this not that long and stuff and reading off every single matchup, I'm just going to sim throughout the whole entire week, or just like sim through some games really fast. So starting off with Joe Musgrove versus Sonny Gray. We lose that game 0-6. In our next game, we also lose 5-11. Next up versus the Cubs, we lose that game also 0-3. And in our next game, we also lose 6-7. So we've caught a little losing streak here. Next up, we have Chris Archer versus the Cubs. We also lose that game 3-5. So yeah, after winning 3 straight games, we've lost our last 6 games. So we're now 3-10 on the year. Playing against Baltimore now. AL matchup, we also lose that game, so the losing streak is now to 7, and we finally pick up our first win in a week as we win 6-2 against Baltimore. Mitch Keller picks up the win. And starting off the sim on a new week, we play against Baltimore. We also lose that game. So after simming through that week, we sit now at 6-15. We've just been losing a lot. We surprisingly won our first matchup against the Dodgers 10-3. Mitch Keller so far is having a pretty decent year, as you can see in the top left. He's 3-0 and has a 3.05 ERA, so I guess it's a good start for Mitch Keller so far. So next up we have Chris Archer facing off against Walker Buehler, and wow, we lose that game 1-17. We are getting crushed in some of these games. So in this upcoming series, we now play against Milwaukee. We have Joe Musgrove against Adrian Hauser, and we get a notification, and we also lose that game 3-5. And our next game, we have Trevor Williams versus Eric Lauer, and we get another notification, but we finally win 8-4. Alrighty, so for the lone game for this video, I'm deciding to play against the Milwaukee Brewers here. We're going to have Mitch Keller versus Josh Lindblom. And Mitch Keller is having a pretty good start to the year, as I mentioned earlier. So hopefully we can further his stats and improve and try to win this game. Pirates currently sit at 7-17, Milwaukee at 13-11. And quickly looking at the NL Central standings, we're clearly at the bottom. So surprisingly, no one's really leading the division, as the Reds, Brewers, Cardinals, and Cubs are all really pretty close to each other record-wise, so except for us, we're at the way bottom. But anyways, it looks like the division could be anyone's pretty early on in the season. Well, that sucks. So Ke'Bryan Hayes, one of our top prospects, just got injured. He has a torn groin. He's out for 1 to 2 months, so it looks like that's going to slow down his progression and stuff, so that kind of sucks. But anyways, by the looks of it, Josh Lindblom is not having a great year at all. 0-2 and has 11.21 ERA so far. So hopefully we can crush him and also do good with Mitch Keller. So welcome everybody to our first game here at PNC Park, as we're going to be taking on the 13-11 Brewers. And as you can see, Mitch Keller is our starting pitcher for the game. As we go to the top of the second inning here, Keston Hiura starts off things for the Brewers as he gets a deep hit that goes over Bryan Reynolds' head, and he's going to get into second with no problem. And next up to bat here for the Brewers, we have Omar Narvaez, who hits a ball up the middle, and that's gonna get Keston Hiura into home. The throw is just late. We can't tag him, and the Brewers take a 1-0 lead for the first score of the game. So next up for the Brewers, they have Justin Smoak batting, and that's gonna get through the middle as well, and they won't send the runner. So we have bases loaded with 0 outs here. Mitch Keller actually gets 2 outs, but Lorenzo Cain here hits one into right field, and that's gonna send a run home for the Brewers as they take a 2-0 lead with bases loaded still. But fortunately for us here, Bryan Reynolds gets under this ball and will end the inning, but Brewers still capitalize with 2 runs. So we go to the top of the 5th now, where Lorenzo Cain is hitting. He gets a hold of a pitch, and that will go over Adam Jones' head into left field, and Lorenzo Cain will get a leadoff double to start the 5th for the Brewers. And next up at bat here, Eric Sogard turns a pitch, and that is way out into the outfield, gone for a 2-run blast, as the Brewers now take the lead 4-0. So now in the bottom of the 5th, Jacob Stallings, our catcher, gets a hit, and that will go into the gap for a double. So we'll get a leadoff double to start the bottom of the 5th. Here we bring in a pinch hitter for Mitch Keller. Jose Ozuna goes in, and unfortunately the Brewers aren't able to do anything as he gets a strikeout, and now that will bring up Kevin Newman up to bat. He hits this one out into right field. Christian Yelich tries to make a diving catch but is unable to hang on to it, and we now have runners at second and third with 1 out. Bryan Reynolds here is up at bat next for us, and he will pop this up to right field. Christian Yelich gets under it, and we end up sending Jacob Stallings, who has only 8 speed. The throw is way off target, and he gets in safely, so we get our first score of the game. And next up at bat here, we have Josh Bell, who's had a great game so far. 2 for 2, looking to improve that line, and he hits a ball right up the middle. That will send Kevin Newman home, and the score now is reduced down to 2 runs, but Josh Bell tries to leg it out and make it into a double, but he is tagged and thrown out. So we send out Robbie Erlin now to pitch for us, and we go to the top of the 6th here, where Justin Smoak gets a nice pitch that's drifting out. It stays barely fair, and that will hop over the wall for a ground rule double. Lorenzo Cain, who's been killing us all game, gets another base hit, and that will put runners onto the corners for the Brewers. And here Orlando Arcia gets another hit into the right field, and that will drive in a run for the Brewers as they extend their lead to 3 now. Luckily, we get out of the inning, and we send in Eric Gonzalez here on offense for a pinch hit. He hits this ball lightly down third base line, and they try to get a double play, but we will be safe, so this will count as a base hit. We have men at second and first with no outs, and the Brewers will yank Lindblom out of the game. His day is done, and they'll send in Brent Suter trying to get them out of this inning. Bryan Reynolds here up at bat, hits the ball down the first base line. Justin Smoak tries to turn this into a double play. That goes into the outfield for a wild throw, and that will put bases loaded now with only 1 out. And next up at bat, we have Josh Bell coming in, already 3 for 3 on the day so far. He gets a pitch, and he gets that right in between the first and second baseman. That will drive in 2 more runs, so we cut down the deficit to only 1 run. Adam Frazier here now has a chance to do additional damage with runners second, third, and he will just line straight out to Orlando Arcia, which will end the inning for us. So we bring in Kyle Crook to pitch for us, and we'll resume the game now at the top of the 9th, where Christian Yelich gets a long hit, and that will bounce off the right field wall. Polanco gathers it, throws it pretty poorly, and that will send in a run as the Brewers extend their lead 6-4 off a triple from Christian Yelich. And now Keston Hiura up at bat here, and he drives one way out to left field. Clearly gone, and that will basically put the nail in the coffin as the Brewers extend their lead to 4 runs now. Unless we can get some miracle here going in the bottom of the 9th, we basically lost this. We resume the game. Brian Reynolds with 1 out left, and he pops this way up into the air, and that will do it for the game. Brewers win 8-4 over the Pirates. So unfortunately we lost this game as well, as we lose 8-4 to the Milwaukee Brewers. Keston Hiura had a great game for the Brewers. He had that home run obviously to really clinch the game, and he had that double to start off the game as well that kind of set the tone in the second inning. Unfortunately, Mitch Keller didn't really do that great. He didn't last that long because he has such low stamina, and he got kind of into trouble early on into the game. Our offense didn't really click, and when it did, we got a few runs in the middle of the game, but unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize on that bases loaded situation in the bottom of the 7th there. Josh Bell definitely was the player of the game for us. He went 4 for 4, had those 3 RBIs. But other than that, I mean, poor pitching performances, not much offense, and that leads to losses. So we're just going to finish up the rest of the Sims here for the month of April, and we have Jameson Taillon facing off against Clayton Kershaw, so this will be a pretty interesting matchup, and we lose that game 1-2. Next up, we have Chris Archer versus Walker Buehler, and we also lose that game 0-4, so we're not doing that great at all, 7-20 so far. Next up, we have Joe Musgrove versus Julio Urias, and we lose that game 0-5 as well, so our offense is just completely dying these last 3 games. And to finish up the rest of April, we have 3 games against the Cubs, so we'll have Trevor Williams, and wow, 1-11 we lose this game. Trevor Williams has 11.96 ERA. So next up, we have Mitch Keller versus Tyler Chatwood, and we lose that game as well, so we're on another huge losing streak here, dropping our last 6 games. And lastly, we'll finish the Sims off with Jameson Taillon versus Kyle Hendricks, and we lose that game 2-3 as well. So wow, we're sitting at 7-24 on a 7-game losing streak. Month of April was not good at all for us, as we only had like 5 or 6 wins on the whole entire month. Alrighty, so now with more of a test sample, I guess you can say, we can look at the stats more in depth here, and looking at batting average, no one is batting over 300 except Jose Ozuna, so he's batting 375. He's only had 24 at-bats, but still really good for Jose Ozuna. Eric Gonzalez is actually doing quite decent as well, batting 286. Brian Reynolds is batting 280, so he's having a decent start to the year. We have Josh Bell batting 266, not bad. I mean, I guess it's just average for him. And looking down the list here, Adam Jones, he's actually improved since we last looked at his stats. He was batting 0.95, and now he's up to 243, so, I mean, still not good, but at least it's better than that. And wow, Kevin Kramer is batting a 0.65. He's had 31 at-bats, so I mean, not as many, but still, that is awful. Looking at home runs so far, no surprise to see Josh Bell leading the team with 6 home runs so far. We also have Brian Reynolds with 4, and RBIs, Josh Bell is leading that as well with 20 RBIs so far, and Gregory Polanco, surprisingly, doing pretty decent, has 15 RBIs on the year so far. Now looking at pitchers, obviously you can tell that we're not doing that great. Our best starter really, Joe Musgrove, has a 3.86 ERA. Jameson Taillon has about 4 ERA, and Mitch Keller has a 5.16 ERA. He's 3-2 on the year after having a good start, but we kind of screwed up his stats in that last game. And Chris Archer has hit a rough patch on the year as well, 1-4 on the year with a 5.59 ERA and a 1.8 WHIP, so definitely not doing that great for Archer. At the bottom of the ERA still is Trevor Williams. He is having an awful season so far, 1-5, only 17 strikeouts, 11.96 ERA, and a 2.36 WHIP. Wow, that is awful. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously, we're not doing that great to start the year, and I didn't really expect us to do that good, but I guess we're tanking for a good pick next year. I guess that's something you can look forward to. But yeah, thank you guys once again if you watched throughout this. Really do appreciate the support and stuff. Hopefully we can do better than we did in the month of April next month, but this team's not looking so good to start off. There will be major changes coming, so definitely maybe we'll set up some trade targets as well next video. But that will do it. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace out.